NFL with the salary cap, bad contracts can absolutely cripple teams and make it so they can't retain their best players and sign good players to improve their team in the offseason. And so in today's video, I want to talk about the top 5 worst contracts in the NFL going into the 2024 NFL season. But before we get into the video, I wanted to take a second to ask you to please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. Really helps us out. If you're a fan of the NFL, you'll love this channel, as we release multiple NFL-related videos every Tuesday and Friday all year long. Now, let's get back to the video. We're going to start out at number 5 with Daniel Jones, quarterback for the New York Giants. Many people know how bad this Daniel Jones contract is and might be questioning why it is only number 5 on our list. And the main reason it's only number 5 on the list is because the Giants can get out of this contract somewhat quickly. So let's look at the terms. The Giants have 3 years, $148.1 million left on this contract. That is an insane amount of money, but only $70.1 million of that is guaranteed, and there's no dead cap at the end of the contract. So what does that mean? Well, it means that after this year, the New York Giants can cut Daniel Jones after paying about $48 million in cap hit this year. They pay $22 million in dead cap in 2025, which would be the third of his 4-year contract. And they walk away without that much of a scratch on them. Yes, they have to pay him $48 million this year, which they probably don't want to pay him. And yes, they do have to have a dead cap of $22 million in 2025, which they probably don't want to take. But at the end of the day, if that's the only penalty you're getting for this Daniel Jones contract, that's pretty good, especially when you're comparing to a guy like Russell Wilson, who has a dead cap of nearly $100 million spread over the course of 2 years, while also having 2 years with the Broncos, where he was already having a pretty high cap hit. At number 4, we have Jeudy, now of the Cleveland Browns, who has a 4-year, $65.5 million contract, $41 million of which is guaranteed. And this is a contract that was literally signed this offseason after a trade from the Broncos to the Browns. And it's rare you have a contract that's just signed and a player who's never played on that contract being put as the top 5 worst contracts in the NFL, but that's absolutely the case with Jeudy. Jeudy has not shown he has earned this type of contract. This guy has never had a 1,000-yard receiving season. He has never been the top wide receiver on a mediocre receiving team in the Denver Broncos, who have never had a great passing attack in Jeudy's time there. And he's just never shown he's worth the pedigree of the first-round pick he was taken with. And so the Cleveland Browns going and trading for them to be their number 2 or 3 receiver behind Cooper and Njoku seems absolutely crazy for a team that already has some pretty significant contracts on the books. And what the Browns have done is they basically pushed as much of this contract into the future as possible, as evidenced by the fact that he has a dead cap of $30 million at the end of this contract. That means of this contract, nearly half of it won't even be put on the books until after the contract is expired. This makes it so his contract really doesn't seem that bad in the short term, but could absolutely cripple the Browns moving forward, which I think is kind of the strategy for the Browns. They are all in for the next couple of years, but after those couple years, this is going to be one of the biggest cap nightmares the NFL has ever seen. And so Cleveland, I hope you win, because if you don't, yikes. At number 3, we have Taysom Hill with the New Orleans Saints. And Taysom Hill is a ton of fun to watch. He's a ton of fun to put in your tight end slot in fantasy and just see if he has one of those big weeks. He's a ton of fun to go in and play the Wildcat and every so often catch a ball, and it's like, oh, neat. That's a lot of fun. But a lot of fun is not worth 2 years, $40.9 million remaining on this contract, of which $26.9 million is guaranteed and $9.7 million will be dead cap at the end of this contract. That is absolutely, unequivocally insane to think about. He is being paid, if he plays out the remainder of this contract, over $20 million per season to play with the Saints. Let's put that in perspective. That is higher paid than any running back, center, tight end, off-ball linebacker, and higher paid than almost every cornerback and safety in the NFL. Like, we all love in fantasy putting Taysom Hill in as that high upside tight end, But nobody is claiming that Taysom Hill is better than guys like Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, Mark Andrews, etc., etc., etc. Yet his cap hit is nearly $3 million per year more than the highest cap hit tight end, being Travis Kelce at about $17 million per year. That just shows you how insane this Taysom Hill contract is. Do you really want to be paying a 34, 35-year-old Wildcat tight end $20 million a year? Absolutely not. This is an atrocious contract. I don't understand why the Saints even signed it at the point in time when they signed it. But nowadays, it's even worse than then. Terrible contract, number 3 on our list. At number 2 on our list, we have Von Miller, who is 35 years old and has 4 years, nearly $100 million left on his contract. Now, realistically, he does not have that much left because the Bills are not paying anything beyond his remaining guaranteed money, which is about $30.6 million, given the quality of play Von Miller has brought to the Buffalo Bills since he's been in Buffalo. Von Miller in the 2023 season put up 3 combined tackles, 2 solo, 1 assisted, no sacks in 12 games played. That should show you how useless Von Miller has been for the Buffalo Bills. But they still have that significant amount of guaranteed money, which is why they're keeping him in-house, so they can pay him $15 million this season, cut him after the season's done, $15 million in dead cap next year, and be done with Von Miller and his absolutely atrocious contract. And so the only reason this is not number 1 on the list is because that dead cap allows the Bills to get out of it. But it is still so high on this list because unlike other players on this list, if you look at Taysom Hill and Daniel Jones and Jerry Jeudy, these guys are still contributing to their teams. Yes, they are not super effective. Yes, they are not totally worth the amount of money they're making, but they are still contributing, being on the field for the most part for their teams, as opposed to Von Miller, who had 3 tackles in 12 games. That is why this guy is the number 2 worst contract in the NFL going into 2024. And our number 1 worst contract in the NFL going into 2024 is Deshaun Watson, and it's not even close. I would probably take each of the 4 previous contracts over having to take this Deshaun Watson contract. That is how bad this contract is. Deshaun Watson is only 28 years old at quarterback and has shown some pedigree at the position, both in terms of his draft stock and the fact that he's won some playoff games. He has made playoffs. He has led the league in passing yards prior to his time in Cleveland. But with the way he's played since he's joined the Browns and the fact that he has 3 years, $200+ million left on his contract, this is the worst contract in football. Yes, Deshaun Watson is no longer the highest paid quarterback in terms of the sheer contract value he signed for in terms of AAV, but if you compare him to those guys such as Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, who have 5 years, $275 million contracts to their name, neither of them have as much guaranteed money as Deshaun Watson, who is far and away the highest guaranteed money that the NFL has ever given out. And all you have gotten from Deshaun Watson is mediocre at best quarterback play. Let's be clear, the Cleveland Browns were better with Joe Flacco under center in 2023, even though Joe Flacco realistically is nothing more than a decent backup quarterback in the NFL. A lot of people want to look at Joe Flacco and think, wow, Joe Flacco might still be really good. He should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. The fact is, no, he shouldn't be. That is more a commentary on how bad Deshaun Watson and other quarterbacks in Cleveland have been than it is a commentary on how good Joe Flacco is. And so the Cleveland Browns are kind of screwed. They're damned if you do, damned if you don't. They have 2 options. One, you try to push a bunch of this contract out into the future, into void years after the contract completes, and eat that cap hit in dead cap in year 4 of this contract, or you just suck it up and pay over $60 million a year for the next 3 years in cap hit to a quarterback who's not even a top half quarterback in the NFL. It really is damned if you do, damned if you don't. And Cleveland Browns fans, I'm so sorry. You are absolutely screwed. You have 2 players on this list, and Deshaun Watson is far and away the worst. Yeah, that franchise is cursed. Either way, that's it for the video. A little bit of a shorter one this time around. If you enjoyed it, remember to like the video, leave a comment below, help us out, help us grow. Either way, I'll see you all next time. Peace!